Good morning, this is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
Well, good morning and hello, kids, and Happy New Year. It's so lovely to see you. Welcome to the Daily Beaver Morning Show here on the Crier Media Network. Yay! Today, recording day is, I'm guessing it's Monday.
It's Monday.
January 1st, 2024. A bright, fresh new year with no mistakes in it, as would say Anne Shirley. She usually says it for a bright, fresh new day, but hey, new day, new year, new everything. I'm your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, hey, Mr. Beaver, and with me, as always, is my good friend, Mr. Grizzly. A big thank you goes to our podcast's founding sponsors, the Peppermaster, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. I think it's going to be a nice day at the Beaver Lodge. I did not check the weather report. It doesn't matter. It's a new year. It's going to be a good day. It has to be. You got to get the year started off right. Right, kids?
One would agree, yes.
Yes. But I do not know. I'm guessing Mr. Grizzly has the day off, so I'm guessing we might have a longer than usual show.
Yeah, it's New Year's Day. I do have the day off, so I am home today. No work at all, other than this, of course. Not day job work today. Let's put it that way. So yeah, I'm free to chat with you as long as you wish, or until I run out of coffee and get tired and need a nap.
I'm definitely going to need a nap. That's for sure at some point today. And before we do anything else, let's ask Mr. Grizzly, how's your mental health today, sir?
Sir, I think it's pretty good. I am a little tired. Tried to go to bed early last night, and I don't know. I was ready for bed at like 9 o'clock, watching a movie, and I thought, well, I'll just watch the rest of the film. And then Bridget woke up because she was snoring beside me on the couch. And she woke up, and then I put some music on, and then we just started chatting. And she's like, it's about 20 to 12. Why don't we just tough it out and stick around for midnight? So I'm like, okay. So we did. So we turned on the Dick Clark show, which he's no longer part of because he died a few years. But it's Ryan Seacrest now, I guess.
Yep.
So we watched the ball drop in New York City and watched, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 minutes after that and then went to bed. So I managed to make it to midnight, and I didn't think I was going to be able to because I was really tired. We'd had a pretty busy weekend. So How about yourself?
For me, it was a very, very, very quiet New Year's Eve. I was with family over the Christmas week.
Right.
And unfortunately, I had received news about a friend who was not doing well, which I tried not to post cryptically, but I did not want to share too much because it's not my information to share. So when people are saying what's wrong, I say, well, I got bad news, and I really, really can't say much more because
Yeah.
it's not for me to say what is going on. Because if I do, I'm sharing personal information about someone else that I don't necessarily have the permission to share.
Right.
And it was bad news.
Mm.
So, if it was good news, probably nobody would be upset if I was sharing good news. And it was health related. So always makes things personal. So I came back on the 29th rather than staying for New Year's with family and had some time with my friend,
Mhm.
which was very good and very productive and ended up being helpful, which is good.
Yes.
And my Beaver sweetie stayed with family. So the last few days have been quiet and solitary and alone. And a lot of people worry
Mm.
about that with me. And there is no need to because I kind of like that.
Little solitude from time to time is nice. Huh?
I'm an introvert and I tend to be I I don't know how to say it, not that I tend to be a solitary person. I do like people and I'm gregarious and I'm social, but I really do like alone time
Mhm.
very much.
Agree
And
with
when you're in a couple, you don't necessarily get a lot of it. And when you've spent oh, 5, 6 days in a row with family, you get none. And my Beaver Sweeties family is wonderful. I love them all to bits. I really do, especially since I don't really have any family of my own. It's really, really nice to go there and spend time with them. But when you go see family and it's not your biological family, but your partner's biological family,
Mhm.
you're on, as I would call it. You're
Mhm.
not
Oh,
as
yeah. Yeah.
relaxed and you don't do the things that you would normally do at home. So, for example, you don't put your feet up on the table. You don't leave the dishes on the counter and say, I'll do them later. You do them now. You say lots of pleases and lots of thank yous. Not that I don't say that regularly, but you pay extra attention and you try to be the most polite and best version of yourself, which after 5 or 6 days can get exhausting. And you're not sleeping in your bed, and you're not eating the food that you would normally choose for yourself, and you're not keeping the schedule you would normally choose for yourself, and you're not doing the activities that you would normally do yourself. You're participating in what everybody else is doing. So there are after a couple of days, I hit a limit, and I also get peopled out. And it's not because they're not lovely. They are wonderful. But, I'm sure everybody that's in a couple that goes to the in-laws, it's like, you it's like, "Sweetie, yes, they are lovely, but they're your family. Of
Right.
course, you feel more comfortable." And again, comfortable is the wrong word
Mhm.
because
At
it's
ease.
been 10 years.
They're just a little bit more at ease.
Yeah, well, they've always known you.
Mhm.
So they know your habits, they know your behaviors, they know. So you can be pretty much the same over there as you are over here. Whereas the person that's come into the family can't necessarily be. So if I'm frustrated for any reason, for example, I'm less at liberty to let it show.
Okay.
For example, if I didn't sleep well a particular night, which does happen there because
Mhm.
the room
A
in
lot of
which we
people.
sleep, it's is my father-in-law. I say my father-in-law. My sweet Beaver sweetie and I are not officially married, but it's 10
Mm.
years, so I still say my father-in-law. He lives in a beautiful one-bedroom condo downtown Toronto near the Eglinton, Mount Pleasant area,
Mhm.
uh, with a den. But the den is small enough for a Murphy bed and a tiny bit more. So we're 2
Crowded.
people in that small little room. I tend to run hot. We're both breathing in a small room. The air gets hot. Yeah. So if you don't sleep particularly well, and my APAP machine wasn't really, I can't say it wasn't working well there, but because I didn't have the place to set it like I
Mhm.
normally do,
Right.
the hose would come undone, the back hose wouldn't stay clogged. If I was fighting with the mask, that would involve
Sounds like
turning
it
on
was not a good
lights.
time.
It involves turning on lights and waking everybody up, and so when you haven't slept very well about a
Mhm.
day and a half or 2, and all you wanna do is nap, and everybody says, "Hey, let's go for a walk, and then let's go for a movie, and then let's play some games," and you think, "I just wanna sleep."
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you're so at one point, you're just like, "Yeah, ding, ding, this is my stop. I need to go home because I need to sleep."
Sounds like a um, less than stellar time.
It's no, it you have to
No,
understand
it's
it
not
really is
restful,
a
is what I'm
wonderful
getting at.
time, but it's not restful, and as the kids and cubs know, I have a rather busy next few months coming up with 2 shows,
Mhm.
right, and rehearsals, and we're now in the second half of the curling season, and my competitive teams are doing well, so we are in the playoff hunt. You know, and one of the plays that I'm in, I'm also producing.
Okay.
So there's a lot. That's one of the reasons why I had to drop choir. For example, I needed to make more time,
Mhm.
and my Beaver sweetie will be taking on as close to a full-time, full course load at the college this semester,
Mhm.
which means we're going to have to be slightly better organized. We're probably going to have to make weekly plans specifically,
Right.
like for times he's away and preparing tests and whatnot. So it's going, and we're still in renovations. We're in year 3 of a 1-year renovation.
Well, you bought during the pandemic,
Please
so
let 2024 be the last year of the 1-year renovations that last 3 years. Please.
I can't guarantee that that's going to happen. I really don't know.
We
Good
don't know,
luck is all I can
but
say.
please, please. So there's a lot going on. So to start off the year, I thought it might be a good idea to have a couple of days rest. And
Mhm.
that curveball with a friend, it's one of the among the harder things you can imagine.
Mhm.
My friend had to go into the hospital, and when you don't see it coming, I can't say I didn't see it coming, but the holidays are a terrible time for it.
Mhm.
Let's just put it that way. So, yeah, I said, I'll come back. We'll spend a day or two together. I can take care of you for a bit if it's needed, and it was needed. So, it's emotionally there's been a lot going on, and if kids have been following me as well, the last month prior to Christmas, it seemed that every second day you'd get news of a friend that either lost somebody that they loved, a parent,
Mhm.
or or a pet, even. And 2 friends of mine who had cancer had a recurrence. So the news has been a little heavy the last month or so, and it hasn't necessarily all been good things. So just a moment to have a couple days alone, just get good night's sleep, not be solicited, cook some good food, eat well, that type of
Mhm.
stuff. So I treated myself to some good stuff, but my Beaver sweetie was very worried in the sense that, oh, you're spending New Year's alone. That's so terrible. It's like, no, no, really, it's not. 'Cause I've never been a bar person for New Year's. I
Mhm.
don't know if
Oh,
that's
no,
been the
it's the
case for
worst
you.
place. No.
But
Well, I mean, I was because I
you were a
DJ'd,
DJ. Yeah.
right? But I remember one year I took the year off. I didn't want to DJ that. I just like, no, I want the year off. So I went out with a group of friends, and it was horrible. It's like I'll never
Right?
do that again.
Right?
Horrible. It's overcrowded. Service doesn't exist because they're running their feet off just trying to keep up. You've got, like I said, it's amateur night. You've got people who don't go out all year who decide that New Year's Eve is the night to go out.
No, it's not. It's really
No,
not.
no,
It's
I'd
really
rather just
not.
stay home.
And I'm not a big drinker.
Hmm.
So you go to a place that's overcrowded where everybody is drinking. A few people are drunk and messy. People are bumping into you, spilling their drinks on you.
Hmm.
If you like to dance, the club or whatever is so damn packed, there's no room to dance anyway. So
Yeah.
yeah, everybody that makes these big plans for New Year's, I either like spending it quietly at home, with someone or with family, or having a little gathering at home, and that's it. But given that, we had 6 wonderful days with family, we ate too much. We went on a ski trip. We did as much skiing as was possible to do, given the little bit of snow.
Yeah.
Um, so there were only like 2 or 3 runs open at Blue Mountain, the Bunny Hill, and I think 2 Blue Coat Hills, which I think are the easiest hills. And the second day rained, so everything was closed. So it was literally board games and card games and stuff. So it's a couple of days at home where you're not doing anything and you can just take care of you and center yourself and get
Mhm.
ready for the new year. It'll be great. And my Beaver sweetie will be coming back today. So, we'll do our New Year stuff today and everything will be wonderful.
Does he go back to work tomorrow?
Not tomorrow, no. I think classes start the following week where he
Oh,
teaches,
okay.
but he's got a week of, major course and
Prepping.
class
Yeah, yeah.
preparation, right? So
It's
it
not
is
like
going to be a week.
it's not like he's off.
No, he's not off. And he's still working on the paper he's trying to get published as well. So, he's got some edits to make to that. It's a lot, but the holidays were wonderful. And, even though I did get to go skiing a little bit, and I actually had an achievement, Mr. Grizzly,
Oh.
for the first time in my life. I think this is only like the 7th time I've been skiing in about 20 something years.
Hmm.
So I don't go all that often. And every time I've gone skiing, without fail, it never fails, I cannot get off a chairlift for some reason. I always fall. I never fall on the skis because I was a dancer. I've got great balance, but I cannot get off a chairlift to save my life. And whether or not it was like one where you hold a T-bar and it comes up, and, you're just holding it, whether it's
Hmm.
been an actual chairlift, I always fall at some point, at some point, many times, I end up eating snow. I did not fall once.
Well, congratulations. You've achieved balance, I guess. I don't know.
Woo-hoo! So that was an achievement. And my sweetie got me a wonderful Christmas present because we were in Toronto. 42nd Street was playing. We
Oh, so you
found
went to
out
see it?
on the way there. Yes. And well, you know me, I love musicals. I love
Hmm.
being in them. And, it's kind of in the DNA,
Yeah.
right? I'm fabulous. So musicals and being fabulous kind of go together. Not for everyone, but for a lot of us.
Hmm.
So, but 42nd Street is one of those old style musicals, right?
Hmm.
With like lots of sequins and tap dance numbers. And it's just like, oh, and I had
I'm
never
trying to,
seen one.
I'm trying to remember because there's a film,
Yes,
42nd Street,
as well. Yes. So
and
it's
I'm
about
blanking. I can't remember the plot. I can't remember the storyline. I can't remember any of it. I have seen it, but it's been a
Peggy
long time.
Sawyer from Allentown, Pennsylvania, arrives in New York, and she wants to break into the chorus and happens to luck into a show, and
Mm.
then the lead happens to break her ankle, and somebody has to take over the lead, and it ends up being Peggy because she's that good. And she's
Okay.
got 36 hours to learn all the lead part before they go live, or else 100 people are out of work. And we're talking like 1933, so just out of the Depression.
Yeah, they desperately want to keep everybody employed.
Yeah. So, but I had never seen an old style musical ever.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It was wonderful.
Hmm.
The tap dancing was spectacular. The lady who plays the lead, I wish I could remember her name off the top of my head. She is fantastic.
I'm
Like,
not sure.
she can move her feet really fast, and she can do those turning sequence on tap, and she can
Mhm.
just go and go and go and go. It's- It it was something. It really was something. If you're in the Toronto area and you're looking for something to do, I think it's still on for a little bit. If you have an opportunity to go see 42nd Street, it is really, really, really worth it. I cannot recommend it enough. So I'm a very happy beaver, I have to say. Well, you know it's good when you go see a musical and you come out of it and you're singing and you're pretending like you can tap dance.
No, I don't know what that's like.
I've never tap danced at all in my life. So, well, that's not true. There was a little bit in a show that I did that had a little segment of tap that was really, really, really dumbed down. So I learned like 3 little steps in order to be able to get through that segment or something, but that was about it. That was the
Mm.
only time I've ever had tap shoes on. So, yeah, but watching it, it's like, oh my word, I want to take tap now. I want to know, I want to be able to do that.
Kind of a dead art, though, isn't it?
It is, and a lot of the musicals that people are doing now, especially at community theater, seem to be the more modern ones, so there
Mhm.
isn't much call for it, except, for example, Chicago. There is some tap in Chicago if you want to do that. But, I love just the soft knees. It's
Take your
just
word for it.
oh, yeah. Well, you can tell, right? Because, it's if you're really hoofing it, there's different, right? You have to be like have really, really soft knees to get the shuffles and the clack clack clackety clack clack, right, of tap. And then there's once you get that, then there's you can have the hand position, where you got your hand like this. It's kind of hard to see because the camera's on the weird thing. But
Mhm.
then there's you can be rigid, but then there's like the people that have just that little softness to it, like this, and little shakes of the head, like the da
Mhm.
da da, like this, and or right, and I'm just like, it's just so smooth and elegant. I was like, oh, I want to be that. I want to be that. I want to be able to do that. So, but I don't have time. So, but I really, really, it just made me want to do that, especially while I still have the knees, because at some point they give out. So,
Yes, as one will find out as one gets older, the knees don't give you what they once should have. Unfortunately,
Mhm.
it's inevitable.
So, but it's yeah, it was beautiful. But it's something, yeah, it is something I would want to learn. How about you, Mr. Grizzly? How was your Christmas? How was your New Year's and everything?
Uh, Christmas was busy, hectic, running around, a lot of travel, and I was completely exhausted by the end of it. But it was good, Saw lots of family, and yeah. Unfortunately, my sister, who was supposed to come home for Christmas, was very, very sick and couldn't travel.
Oh no!
So yeah, so she and my brother-in-law stayed home because she was really sick. They couldn't travel. They didn't want to come and get everybody else sick, so I didn't get to see them, unfortunately. But it was good. I spent Christmas Eve with Bridget and her children, and then Christmas morning woke up and went to my folks' place, and then went and picked up Bridget around 4 o'clock, and then went back and had dinner, and yeah, it was good. It was good.
Wonderful. I like that. I like
New
that.
Year's Eve was just sitting on the couch watching TV. Well,
um,
we had gone to for her birthday. I'd booked us a day at the Le Nordic Spa. So that's what we did
Yes,
Saturday.
you were
Went to
mentioning
the
that.
spa, then went to the Chelsea pub for dinner, and then went back to actually, it wasn't an Airbnb, it's just a B&B. Went back there and watched a little TV and then went to bed. Yeah, it was good. It was a good weekend. We were exhausted. I did the cold dip, which I don't
Ooh.
I don't enjoy. I don't enjoy. I really don't like it. Especially as someone who worked in construction outside in the cold winter. Why would I voluntarily make myself cold? But here's the thing. Come on in. Here's the thing. The cold dip, as it's super relaxing afterwards. So I did the cold dip, and then I went and sat in the warm pool in the silent area, and literally was unconscious for about 20 minutes, which was wonderful. It's so invigorating, but I don't enjoy it. Like, I'm going to stay in, and some people were in there like 5 minutes. I'm like, no, I'm 30 seconds is all I can do with that. I'm sorry. And there's a part of me that has always wanted to take part in, the polar dip on New Year's Day. They
Nope.
chop a hole in the ice.
Yep.
There's
Not
no
me.
ice this year.
Never.
Nothing's frozen.
Yeah, I know.
There's no ice. There's no
We
snow.
were-
There's no ice. It's green grass everywhere. It did get cold over the last couple of days. When we were at the spa, it was actually the coldest it had been in a few weeks, I think. So you're wandering around in flip flops and a bathrobe, and you're going from hot tub to hot tub, because they've got like the party zone. Like, there's a big chat zone. There's the silent zone. There's the quiet zone. There's the steam rooms, multiple saunas. There's a yurt. If you've never been, you really should go. It's the largest spa in North America. Le Nordic, Nordik, Nordic, as in Nordic countries, because it's all about cold and hot, and the invigorating health properties that one gets from doing it. And it really is unbelievably relaxing to do the cold dip and then get into the heat and sit there, and it'll just all your cares and worries melt away. But the cold part is really not pleasant. But it's necessary and it works, but it's really not pleasant.
Oh, see, I've had no desire to do the cold dip, but I remember when I was in Europe with my Beaver sweetie when he brought me to Romania,
Mhm.
and on the way back I stopped in Budapest and I went to one of those baths,
Mhm. Mhm.
as they call it, and they have pools that have different temperatures.
Yeah.
So they're like really, really hot water, and then medium water, yes, and then they have a cold one. And I was in one of the hotter pools, and apparently you warm up, and then you go dip in the cold one, then you come back, and then you go back in the hot one. So I did that once only, because when I moved, and I wasn't even in the hot one, I was sort of like in the medium one, and then I jumped into the cold one. And I think when I hit the water, when I jumped in, I think my heart actually stopped for 2 beats.
It's a bit of a shock, yeah.
And then I was like, I stayed in like for about 15, 20 seconds. I said, yeah, that's enough of that.
Yeah,
And I went right
that's
back on the hot one. And it's
yeah.
like, ooh, I don't like that feeling of everything just going constricting. It's like, oh man, that was a little too much. I'm
It's not
soft,
pleasant.
kids. I'm soft.
It's not pleasant at all. It really isn't.
Yeah. Yep. So that was not something for me. And yeah, I'm a winter boy too, which is odd because I look tropical, but I'm not a summer person actually. I like fall's your least favorite season. It's my fall, and fall is my favorite. But fall, spring, and I love winter. Yeah, I love cross country skiing. I love curling. I love going down hills on inner tubes and all that kind of stuff. I love skating, downhill skiing. I'm kind of getting into, but yep, polar bear dips. Nope, cold water. It just even when we go in the summer up, the couple times that we go to Grand Bend up by Lake Huron, they,
Mhm.
sticking your foot in the water and say, yeah, it's a little cold. I think I'm just going to go into my ankles. Thank you very much. That'll be enough. And everybody else is swimming and go, yay. I was like, I have trouble getting in there's three parts in my body that are really sensitive. Right in the crotch area as the boy bits are about to go in, the belly button itself, getting water past the belly button once I get there, like this, and the armpits specifically. So if I just jump in, I'm fine. But if I'm like wading in, it's like every time I get to like each one of these three phases, there's like about like 5 to 7 minutes before like it's like taking water and like putting it on it and rubbing and just trying to acclimatize
it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. Like I said, if I wanted to do it, there's a part of me that wants to do the polar bear dip just to say I did it. But there's no ice, so there's no hole to chop in the ice. So it's not like that. And it's a New Year's Day, and I'm sure you'll have people that will jump in the river today, no doubt. But it's kind of not the same thing. A polar bear dip is ice water. This is just cold river right now. It's not.
Right.
There's no ice whatsoever. It's just not been cold enough.
Right.
Matter of fact, the outdoor rink across the street from me did have a sheet of ice up till 2 weeks ago. By the time Christmas rolled around, everything was gone because it had been raining and above zero for like a week and change. So
Wow.
It's nothing but mud right now.
Jeez. Yeah,
I don't know unless it gets really cold for the next 2 weeks. The canal might not open again this year.
Mm-hmm. We were hoping to go skating because we had gotten a 1-day lift pass, and then the second day we were just going to do activities like tubing down hills and skating, but there was not enough snow to tube down a hill, and there was definitely no skating. So
yeah.
Well,
the Rink of Dreams is open at City Hall because that's a refrigerated pad, so they can open that. They open that actually usually in right after Remembrance Day, if memory serves, and it stays open. I remember when they first built it, a friend of mine was like, "Well, that's stupid. The canal's right next door." I go, "Yeah, but the canal isn't always open."
Yep.
And last year it didn't open at all. So if you want to go skating, it's free to skate. And they have a sheet of ice at Lansdowne as well, which is also refrigerated. So,
oh, cool.
Yeah, you can skate at Lansdowne or at City Hall.
Yeah, I saw that the Rink of Dreams was open when I came for the pubcast as I was walking back home. I saw that was open. That's always a nice place to skate, actually. It really is.
I've been to it a million times. I've never actually skated on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's lots of fun.
I walk by it all the time. I just haven't skated on it.
Oh, all right. Well, let's get on to some content, if you would. Oh, by the way, resolutions. Do you have any?
No.
No?
Never have. Just try and be a better person each year. That's it.
Yeah.
That's my resolution. Just try and be a better person.
That is definitely a good resolution. I have resolved to make an effort, because we talked about it a little bit, to and a little less during our podcasts, which is why I'm speaking a little slower today.
To keep
I'm
to
trying
keep up to
catch
speed.
myself from doing.
You've been doing an outstanding job thus far. So.
Well, thank you very much.
Well, no, I noticed. I'm like, wow.
It's very, very tricky, I have to say, because it's an instinct.
But, it is, yeah. Because we want to always fill in the gaps of silence, but sometimes silence is, poignant and necessary, especially in a visual medium like this. So when we do the audio, I just shorten the gaps if they're long. So, yeah.
Well, I want to make less work for you, so I'm.
Thank you.
Really.
I'm going to be busy today trying to get caught up on everything because I got 2 weeks worth of audio to post. I'm like, oh boy.
Oh man. All right. Let's say hello to some kits. Let's see who's joined us here this morning. We have Kit Linda M. Happy New Year to you and to all of yours, by the way, who are watching. Kit, My Dogs Are Goth, Kit Elaine, Kit Jillian, Kit Ellen, Kit Elaine, hello. Oh, I said Kit Elaine already. Well, so nice I'm saying it twice. There you go. Kit Tavi G, Happy New Year to you, dear. Kit Dan, hello, my friend. It's lovely to see you joining us. Kit Saucy, thank you so much for being here with us. Who else is here if I look in my magic mirror? Ooh, Kit Carol. I think that's a name I've seen before, but not frequently. So it's nice to have you with us. And do we have anything else? I'm just scrolling up the chat list here. Nope, that's who we have this morning. Yeah, looking through the magic mirror and seeing who's there.
Okay, Fran Patrick. Bitch never said my name.
Oh, we have our first swear of the year.
Sort of.
Sort of. All right. Some news.
Japan.
I do not know what happened with Japan. I have to say.
7.6
Oh, yes.
earthquake and
True.
tsunami warnings. So,
Ooh,
welcome to 2024.
welcome to
You know,
2024.
I've talked about this in the past, and I'll wax on poetically about it again this morning about how, so many people, I can't wait to get this year behind me and start off anew. I'm like, it's just another day, man. It's a psychological thing. You think the trees, rocks, dogs, and cats know that it's a new year? No, it's just a passage of time. It's significant for a lot of people, but for myself, I'm like, look, nothing changes on New Year's Day. Nothing changes. It's just a clock ticked a few ticks ahead. We're on a different calendar, but it doesn't make any difference to anything else on the planet that lives and breathes other than human beings. It's just another day, man.
Yep.
I hope that doesn't come off as bleak. I just think I'm being pragmatic.
Well, it is. It is pragmatic, but I mean, it can be something if you want to make it, right? It's like, this is the time I'm going to start something, why not? But any day is a good day for that too.
Well, that's my take on it. It goes along with my feelings about Valentine's Day. Oh, I got to take the wife out for this. But why couldn't you do that 2 weeks ago? Why didn't you do that last month? Why is it just that one day?
Right.
I've had strong feelings about that for decades. It's like, I'm not taking part in that. Sorry. No.
Yep. I've been like that as well with my Beaver sweetie. I tell him, the day itself doesn't matter. The only thing that bothers me is when somebody I am going to be with for Christmas gives me my Christmas present early. I mean, if it's a show or something, then, and it happens early, then yes. But I do like having something to open on Christmas Day if we are together. If we're not, I have no problem with it happening after.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, but not before. Not before. That's about the only thing. But anything else, my birthday, Valentine's Day, anniversaries, whatever, we can celebrate it after. It doesn't have to be on the day specifically, so long as we mark the occasion in some way at some point. I'm good. Yeah. All right. Things I have learned. I have learned one thing, not particularly news, but it seems that the latest thing on Twitter, if you want to have a block party and want to attract lots of haters and lots of people who have, let's just say, the most uncharitable views possible to offer about their fellow human, fellow citizen, post anything positive having to do with UBI or basic income.
Wow.
Oh my word, do they ever come out of the woodwork?
Yeah. Well, and you got to wonder, and I really do wonder this aloud, if that's part of Skippy's bot army that he's paid for, troll bot army.
Absolutely.
I'm convinced it is. Because the way these people come off, it's like, these aren't real. There's no way these are real people spewing such hatred over the fact that we're going to be able to help other human beings, especially when you consider it was a progressive conservative idea to begin with. Now, the progressive conservative in this country is, for want of a better term, dead, gone, and buried. It's just the Reform Party with a conservative name, but it was a progressive conservative ideology. Let's give people a basic income so that they can have their needs met. And guess what? We'll save money. It'll get people out of shelters, off the streets, into a home, into a dwelling. They'll be able to tend to their basic needs. And with AI and robotics, there are going to be more people that will need a source of income. Because if you can't get a job because greedy corporations have found a way to avoid paying human beings to do the work that once, one human would do an 8-hour shift 5 days a week, now they can have one robot do all the shifts all week long. What does it cost them? They've paid for it. That's it. No vacation, no sick leave, no benefits, no sick days, no family emergencies. So they suddenly have something that will generate revenue for them, and it costs them whatever it cost them up front, and that's it. They never have to invest any more money into it. Well, a corporation will certainly want to do that. I mean, look, as a business owner, you want to try and minimize your overhead. I understand that. But if we have millions of people who suddenly do not have any income, how do they buy the products that you're building with the AI and the bots?
Right?
I mean, really, if I don't have money, I can't buy anything. It was like at the beginning of the pandemic when they asked Pierre Poilievre his thoughts of, what are you going to do for people? Well, we'll give them tax cuts. That's great. But look, if I don't have money coming in, all the tax cuts in the world will not help me. If there's no money coming in because I'm not working,
Or you
a
don't make
tax
enough
cut,
money to pay significant income taxes.
it's not going to benefit the vast majority of Canadians. And he knows this.
Of course.
He knows
course.
this. So yeah, it like you said, you try and promote a UBI and watch people come out of the wood. And again, people trollbot army.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And like really, really awful people. There are some people, and it's all the same thing. Remember when we talked about dental and we talked about moral hazard versus moral imperative?
Hmm.
It's the same argument being made with UBI. You have all these people who are allegedly business owners who are allegedly retired. And it's like,
Right.
I'm not gonna pay a single cent if even one lazy person is gonna, right? There is no foolproof system. Any system that has ever existed
Exactly.
on the face of the planet has been abused by someone.
And someone will do it. And you need to accept that as loss. It's just simple.
You
And
need to
any
learn.
business person will say, no, there's people are going to cheat, period. Because human beings do that.
You need to learn to cope. All right.
Until we get rid of money, people are going to cheat.
So you talk about UBI and you get a flood of people that talk about slackers, lazy people. And look at CERB. Like, there's so many people that didn't want to come back to work at CERB. They preferred to stay home and get $2,000 instead of. That's not why people stayed home. After COVID, it was a workers' market.
Mm-hmm.
We
People
had
wanted to get a
tons.
job that paid better.
Yes, we had a lot of people who died.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
We had a lot of people who decided just to retire.
Mm-hmm.
They took this time. There's a lot of people that moved away to different living arrangements, different cities. There's a lot of people that started their own businesses. There's a lot of people, I'm pretty sure there was a lot of servers, people in the service industry, particularly women, who were tired of having their butts grabbed
Yeah, there's a
and being
lot of
harassed
people
at
who
work
left.
that upskilled.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. A tremendous amount of people did increase their skill set and found a better paying job and just said, hey, I don't have to do this anymore. I can get, middle class 9-to-5 lifestyle. That's all most of us want.
Yeah,
I just want to join the middle class.
right. With inflation, there's a lot of people who realized going back to the jobs that they had at the same pay wasn't going to be enough to make ends meet. So they
Mhm.
looked for better jobs. There are people that worked from home who liked a better work-life balance, who left jobs that were not going to offer that to them and
Oh,
went to take other ones. There are people who stayed at home and realized, you know what, I did not have a good work-life balance, or you know what, climbing that corporate ladder may not just be as big a priority to me as I thought it was now that I've been away from it. I've been missing out on certain things, and you know what? I'm not going back. or I'm not going back under those conditions, or I don't want to do that anymore. Lots of things changed. And we also had 2 years where we didn't have much immigration
Hmm.
because
Yeah,
borders were closed.
simple as that. Well, I've been tracking the numbers for Canadian airports, and you
Hmm.
look over the last 5 years and you see the massive dip in 2020, like massive, from 5 million to 1 million passengers. It's a huge dip. That's just the Ottawa airport. Pearson, I took the biggest. I think took the biggest hit because it's the busiest airport in the country by a large
Hmm.
margin. It took the biggest hit. There were still flights coming and going, but they were shutting down things quickly. There was about a 3 or 4 week period there where there was almost nothing. Cargo, sure, but not much in the way of passengers. So yeah, it's people found ways to change their life, get better jobs, get better paying jobs with better conditions, and it is now a workers' marketplace. And I've had a number of job offers uh, lately, and we'll pay you more money. We'll pay. I'm like, yeah, and that would be great, but I'm not going to do those things anymore. I don't. I can't. Look, yes, I need more money, just like anybody else, and I should be paid better because of what I do. Um, I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty of it, but more money doesn't always equate to a better life.
Right, right,
Not always.
right. So you have these people saying, I retired. I'm tired for paying for people who are going to freeload. I paid for them all my life. I was like this. I would
Mm,
never support, if one person is going to abuse from it, I will never support a UBI. And I think, how selfish, narcissistic, and arrogant do you have to be to decide that you are going to be the person that is going to deprive hundreds of thousands of people of something that they do need because one person, just one person, might get something they don't deserve or might exploit a system when all systems are exploited. And then if you ask them, well, was the CEWS? Well, was that lazy corporations? Or SIBA? There's
hmm.
just been an announcement that there's a program that people have to register for to refinance their SIBA loans.
Hmm. Yeah,
And there's,
this week or next week it ends or
yeah,
something like that.
yeah, this week. And there's a $20,000 loan forgiveness. Are all those people lazy too?
Hmm. Yeah, funny how that works out. Huh?
Yeah, it's only when it's the workers are going to get something that they complain. And they're sitting there and they're thinking, well, I got this comment right in front of me. Yeah, but what about the slacker boom of people who are happy to just sit at home and collect $2,000 a month? We saw that with CERB. Nobody wanted to work. It disincentivizes productivity. And
It's
I'm like,
$12 an hour to begin with. It's
right.
not even minimum wage.
And I'm like, what about them? I mean, do the math. Right? How much does that add up to in a year? Is that above or below the national low income threshold for a single adult household?
Yes,
$2,000 a year, 12 months,
2000 a month.
24,000, right? According to a newly published national report by Community Food Centres Canada, nearly 1 million working age single adults are stuck in a cycle of deep poverty with an average annual income of $11,700, which is less than half of the 25,252 low income threshold for a single household. So we have 1 million working age single adults that have an annual average income of 11,700. That's nowhere near 24,000. And the low income threshold for a single adult household is 25,252. So even if you had a CERB UBI like thing at $2,000 a month, which is $24,000, you still are $1,252 below the low income threshold for a single adult household.
Yeah, that's pretty telling, right?
It's pretty telling. And that report highlights that nearly half of single adults, 47%, live in unaffordable housing. compared to 17% in other household types, and 81% of shelter users are single adults with low income. So then if you look at what the average rent is, in December 2023, according to rentals.ca, asking rents for all residential property types in Canada averaged $2,174 in November, holding close to the record high in October of $2,178. So if the average rent is $2,174, and we're talking about a $2,000, you're not even covering the average rent. So when the guy says, "What about the people who are happy to sit at home?" That's literally all they would do if they could afford a home,
Hmm.
is sit at home
Because you can't eat. Okay, great. I
and
paid for
not
the home. I
even
can't eat.
eat.
Yeah.
Who would be happy?
Nobody.
Who
Yeah.
would be
they're
happy to sit at
just
home 12
ridiculous.
months a year, do absolutely nothing with all that time, not even eat, and still be $2,000 a year in the hole?
And you haven't paid your hydro or phone bill or internet. Oh, you don't have any of those things. You just have a roof over your head.
Right.
Maybe
So
you're
that,
lucky and you have one where the heat's included.
yeah. So we saw that with Serbs. You didn't see that with Serb. Now, if all those people actually had $2,000 a month and didn't have to spend at least 1/3 of every day
Hmm.
figuring out how to cover that $2,000 hole and eat and pay for hydro, what are the odds that they'd be more productive with that time rather than less? How does a UBI disincentivize productivity? There's no way. And that's just the math part. Then add the human nature part. If one person thinks really that $24,000 a year is truly enough to make as many people as it would require to, well, it'll devalue the dollar. Really? To make that many people, as many people that would be required to significantly devalue the dollar, lose all of their humanity, lose all of their ambition,
Hmm.
and surrender all of their aspirations. We're humans. We compare ourselves to each other. Who doesn't have a dream? Who doesn't have a goal? Who doesn't have an aspiration? Really? You think out of 40 million people, there'd be a statistically significant enough chunk of people that would say, "Hey, I've got $24,000 a year. I aspire to nothing more in my life."
Yeah, that's no. That's not a thing.
We're human beings. We are naturally creative. We see things around us that other people are doing, and we say, "I want to do that too."
Hmm.
Right? We all have ambitions, dreams, goals. Again, statistically, there may be a certain very tiny percentage that might be saying, "Hey, you know what? This is good enough for me." But I don't know very many people would say, "You know what? I can barely make rent and I can't have food. And you know what? This is fine with me. Life is good." For the rest of my life,
Hmm.
however long that may be, I will pursue nothing. I will dream of nothing. I will aspire to nothing. I will become someone that has no ambitions whatsoever. Come on. Come on.
And
These are ridiculous statements.
indeed. Well, and to Tavi's comment, to address it, didn't Harper get COVID funds? Yes, he did. He did.
Didn't the Conservative Party of Canada
Yes,
take COVID funds?
they did.
So are they lazy organizations too?
Well, I know. Not us. Not us. Just them. Just them. Not us.
Huh. And as Kid Dan says, I got served, but I did pay over $3,000 in taxes for it.
Mhm.
So on 24th,
And
the minimum tax threshold is something like 9,500 and something that you make before you
Mhm.
start paying any tax at all. So even if you got 24,000, there would be some tax on that. So add that to the hole you got to cover. And as Kitland Dams goes, you won't see rich people turning down tax cuts that amount to the same thing. You don't see them saying that that's paying them to stay home.
Hmm. Yeah.
And as we discussed with Laura Babcock, it costs money to be poor when all you can afford is the cheap pair of boots that won't last X number of years, and you have to buy
Hmm.
it, a new pair every year.
Yeah. It adds up quickly. It's expensive to be poor. It's as simple as that. You cannot afford the quality product, so you buy the cheap one that will suffice, and you buy it each year. And after a 20-year period, you've paid 10 to 20 times what your friend has paid for the expensive pair up front. So, it's expensive to be poor.
Yeah. And then they'll come back with, well, when I was talking about the average rent, well, $2,178 is an average across all rentals, rooms, 4-bedroom houses, etc. Your average poor single renter isn't renting at $2,178 per month. And you know this, which means you're not to be taken seriously, as you're being deliberately disingenuous. So I went and looked at that rent report thing.
Hmm.
And, well, here, Mr. Grizzly, I will share a screen. I'll have to blow it up. But let's take a little look there. If you live in Vancouver, a 1-bedroom average is $2,866.
Uh-huh.
1-bedroom, not
One
a
bedroom.
4-bedroom when he says it's all average. If you're living in Burnaby, $2,680, Toronto, $2,594. In fact, of all these cities on this list, you have to get to number 13, Guelph, which is at $2,036, before you get to someplace that's under $2,000, which is Halifax, Nova Scotia at $1,917.
Yeah.
Ooh, you're left with $83 for food and hydro.
That
Wow.
should work
You're
well.
living high off the hog there, aren't you?
Yeah.
Now keep going down this list. Yes. Number 22, Gatineau, 1,739. Whoops.
Yeah. That's kind of wild.
And if you keep, now it's not cooperating.
That
So,
happens.
but if I keep going down this list, oh, come on, Twitter. Why are you doing me like this?
Well,
Anyway,
we still have rent
you get
control
the
in
idea.
Ontario if you're in an older building. It's anything built after, I'll say 2005. I can't remember what the cutoff. Anything built after that, there's no rent control. Because my building was built in 1959, the rent control stays. Doug can't change that. But he hurt a lot of people, and a lot of people have been rent evicted as a result. Now we're gonna
Mhm.
renovate your apartment here, and so the rent will be going up. So you'll have to move out. And in many cases, all they did was paint the place and then triple the rent.
There you go.
They
This
don't care
one
about
might-
human beings.
There you go, Mr. Grizzly. This one might help with the kits there. So, Gatineau, 1,739. 28th on the list, Windsor, 1,544. Well, maybe you'll get 1 week's of groceries out of that. Keep going down. 35, it's the
Saskatoon.
last one on the list. Saskatoon, 1,132.
So the average is 1,900. Is that what
The
it
average is 1,931 for the top 35
is?
regions on this city, on this chart. We're not talking about people living in 4-bedroom homes here. So you're going to encounter people who will literally say anything. Anything. It has no basis in fact.
Mhm.
Will the dollar devalue? The dollar won't devalue. We had, during COVID, CERB. Over the last 4 years, the dollar is traded within a 4-cent range. Even with the CERB. Because the dollar didn't devalue when we were paying people to stay at home to keep people alive.
Mhm.
In fact, for part of the pandemic, the dollar actually increased in value and decreased in value after people started going back. The value of the dollar was higher in 2021 than it was in 2019.
Kind of trippy when you think about it.
but it was lower in 2023. So you are going to, if you talk about UBI, if you talk about basic income, and you happen to be online, you're going to attract a whole bunch of weird people that are going to make all these weird arguments. It's BS.
It's totally
It
is.
is pure BS.
And all they want to do is wreak harm and havoc. And in, like I said, many cases, I have every valid reason to believe that it's the bought and paid for troll army. And in many cases, actual bots, robotic software that do these things. And I've had a few of them where I've argued. It was the one, I don't know, about a year ago. Some guy some guy started to threaten me. And I go, well, okay, punk, tell you what, why don't you join me at the pub? Sit across from me, share a beer with me, have a beer with me, and we'll have a discussion. And, you know, I'll see you face to face. I'm not worried about you. You don't threaten me. I'm not a punk. I go, just tell me where you want to meet here in Ottawa. Tell me what pub we'll meet at, and I'll have a beer. What kind of beer do you drink? And I didn't get a response for a while, and then I finally got a response. I'm really busy right now. What kind of beer do you drink? And he said, this is what I drink. And I'm like, oh, you're a Russian bot. It was a picture of Miller High Life. I'm like, you're not in Ottawa. I haven't seen that in a bar, a pub, or a restaurant in 30 years. It's not served here. I don't even think they keep it in the stores anymore. So you're clearly not a real human being.
Yeah.
Have a nice day. Bye.
Yeah. So when you encounter these people, these tweets are bait, right?
Oh,
And
yes.
there's usually something that happens is that you'll present them with the fact, and they'll deny the fact or just talk past it. And then you'll tell them they're wrong, and they'll say, oh, well, you're being so insulting. It's like, it's not an insult to tell someone that they're factually incorrect when they're factually incorrect. It's not an insult, it's just a statement of fact. And then they move to derision, usually, like this. And you can tell how well you've got under their skin by the number of laughing emojis they put to a statement, or the number of times they end a statement with LOL or haha. Then they try to claim some type of superiority if the later one didn't work, like, I won, you're wrong. Or they just accuse you of what it is that you've pointed out that's a flaw about them. And if that doesn't work and they haven't given up yet and they're still staying with you because some of them are tenacious, then you know you're dealing with someone who's being paid by the reply. Then they'll generally go for your ego, an attack to your ego, so that you go, I'm not like this. So there's a playbook. Right, there's a playbook. So when that happens, if you haven't already muted or blocked them, then what you do, and here's the strategy, is you start, if you tweet back the response, you tweet a response not directly to them, but like you're talking to a friend about them. People who believe this type of thing, they tend to believe like this, and then you point, nothing makes them more nuts. Nothing makes them more nuts. Then they either give up after a while, or then they start flooding you. Nice. For every tweet that you send like this, you get 3 or 4 of them. Yes. That's when you know they've just swollen up and fallen apart. Then what you do is you mute them so that they don't know that they're screaming into a wind tunnel.
Yeah, that's the
And after
fun
they've
part.
responded a couple of times, then you block. And this leads me to an account that I found, which I really recommend you follow. It's this man named Tim Abray, at Tim Abray, if you happen to be on Twitter. He's a PhD in politics, comms, communications professional, sometimes journalist. He studies democracy, voters' brains. He calls himself a settler, class of 1832. And he's talking about, he had a tweet thread, and I'm going to invite him on the show, about how to understand Pierre Poilievre's approach to scrums. And you
It was
can
good.
apply this to trolls on Twitter as well.
Mhm.
Similar psychology, especially his troll bot. He goes, some things people need to understand about Pierre's approach to scrums. First, it takes enormous ego and boundless disdain to confidently pursue his approach. Most people would wither under the stress of playing the game he is playing. They would worry about looking the fool. They would worry about getting caught out, choking, ruining their good name forever, but not him. He pushes into these scenarios with relish. He enjoys the obvious confusion and discomfort it causes, but you should know it's actually very cowardly. Here's why. What he is doing is to democratic accountability what pro wrestling is to boxing. There are no rules. He refuses to respect the accountability function of the media, which is essential to democracy. He refuses to answer clearly. He turns the tables. He asks them questions. That's cheating. It's cheating because the media's role is not to debate.
Mhm.
They are bound by their professional role to ask questions and pursue answers, not debate. He is trying to make them part of the story, but that's like fighting someone who has both arms tied back. Even if they were prepared to engage, he doesn't fight fair. He reaches outside the ring at every opportunity, swinging chairs, gouging eyes, jumping from the top rope. You can't debate that.
No.
When you're willing to lie, the possibilities for lines of argument are endless. Your opponent cannot possibly be ready when you're willing to grab anything and bludgeon them with it. He fabricates entire lines of argument from the cloth of fiction. Debate is fueled by facts. A debate fueled by fiction is just a choreographed brawl. Sure, you can call him a liar. Done. But that doesn't solve the problem of the substance of the issue at hand. It distracts from it. It turns a debate into a Donnybrook, and that's what he wants. There's no arguing with a prolific and easy liar. Same goes for trolls. They just make shit up after a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah.
They don't engage with your point, they talk past it, and then they'll just make stuff up. Like, for example, a UBI will devalue the dollar. What empirical factual basis do you have that I think it will do that?
That's not.
Why do you think that? Based on what? Do you think that because you just don't like what reality is, so you choose to think something else? Or do you have an evidentiary basis to found that belief
They've got
upon
nothing.
that makes you think that? They're not.
They've got nothing.
No. So they'll just lie about anything. And if you lie, there's no point, right? And there's endless lies.
Oh, good God, yeah.
So if you counter an argument, they'll just come up with another lie, and they'll keep you in that cycle forever, which is why you
Yeah.
mute and let them scream into a wind tunnel.
Yeah, you just move on.
Or you post about them and past them if you're leaving information for benefit of someone else, because it's
Mhm.
perfectly appropriate to use a troll's timeline
Mhm.
against them as an opportunity to leave information, provide education for other people that will fall upon it. And then you thank them. Well, this conversation is over, but thank you for allowing me use of your timeline to make it. Because drives them nuts.
Well, the other one I find that works well for me is I'll ignore them for a few days, and I'll go back and go, "You're here? Good God, man, get a life! Like, come on! You're shouting into the void, and no one cares.
Yep.
You're patently wrong, and you have no life." And that kills them every time. I have
Yep.
yet to have anybody ever respond to that,
Yep.
ever.
Yep.
They
And
can't
if you
deal
say,
with it.
and you say, you're not a real person, you're probably not even Canadian. Especially when they you got one of those profiles, like faceless, and it says they're from nowhere,
Numbers.
or there's an American flag, lots of numbers, whatnot. Ooh, that drives them mad. Tell them they're not real. Ooh.
Yeah.
Engaging with him is a trap. Your frustration and anger and discomfort just gets woven in to create a more creative and colorful fiction. But here's the thing. This is all our fault. By treating the serious business of public governance as a blood sport entertainment, we have transformed it into just another ring at the circus. We shouldn't be amused. We should be worried. He's going to break things, important things, fragile things, and we will regret it.
Oh, yeah.
This man is smart. This man knows what time it is and knows exactly how the game is played. So when he says, I study democracy and voters' brains, He's not kidding. Because that's how those brains work on the troll side. So if you have an opportunity, if you're on Twitter, at Tim Abray, Timabray, definitely a worthwhile follow just to
Oh, yeah.
discover them over the Christmas holiday. And we'll be reaching out because, as you know, we like smart and informed people here at the
Very
Beaver
much
Lodge.
so.
Yes, indeed. It's wonderful. Let's see what else we have. Oh, this is an important development. Actually,
Oh.
kids. Yes. A gentleman named Mark Edge, who is a journalist, an author of 7 books, who's taught in 5 countries, and is a media columnist for Canadian Dimension, has started an initiative that I think you will be very interested in knowing about, Mr. Grizzly.
Okay.
I will put it up here for you, and the kits will be as well. You know how the right has this sort of echo chamber? Well,
Yes.
we need one too,
Mhm.
but not echo chamber style, just a place you can go. So there is now a collective platform where you can find a lot of progressive journalistic outlets. We're not talking shows about us who do news commentary because we're not journalists, but
No.
actual journalists. So Ababar, Upping the Ante, Ricochet, the Saskatchewan Dispatch, Press Progress, the Rover, the Media Co-op, Progress Report, the Briar Patch, the New Brunswick Media Co-op, Canadian Dimension, The Maple, The Hoser, Pivot, Midnight Sun, and Independent. The Independent. They have all gotten together on a platform that is called Unrigged. Click on that. So it's a new collective
this.
platform that was founded in response to Meta's ban on Canadian news because you can't find them anymore. So they've created a site, unrigged.com. I'm guessing it would be here. Just click that here and see. Yep, no, unrigged.ca.
Unrigged.ca.
So you can go there, and that's where they're all collected together. Now they've started with just about 20 like-minded online, sorry, not 20 unlike, but it's basically a news aggregator. So all these are together. Now there will be more, like for example, the narwhal isn't there at the moment, but they've started with these, and that they're going to go and reach out to the other ones and try to put them all together. So if you're looking for a place to go to get good quality journalism that's not owned by Chatham Management, Asset Management, or other types of organizations that are pumping US style disinformation into the system, that's where you can go. And, we've featured stuff from Twillium and Narwhal and Press Progress and the National Observer and all of those. The Thai should be on there too. Yes, they're going to approach them, but there's a lot of them. These are reputable sources with actual journalists who follow journalistic standards. I will present to you information that is well researched, that is well documented, that is well written, and facts first, with sound analysis, which is what we try to do on this show. So if you have an opportunity, just put that into your web browser, bookmark it, and that's a good place to go. Very important initiative. Hopefully more outlets will join it. I do intend to write them, because even though we're
Yes,
not
please.
journalists, and try to have them as a guest, but if they would accept us, even though we're not journalists, as part of that, this is something that we would be more than happy to join as well.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm not sure whether or not they include. It seems to be specifically about journalists from what I've been reading, which we are not, because we do not go out and dig up stories and create new content. We take content that's created by others and we interpret it for you.
They do have They do have podcasts though on their site.
Yes, they do have podcasts. So that's why we're like, so I'm saying, depends how broad their definition is going to be. But if it's broad enough that it would include us, this is something that we would be very, very interested in joining. But if not, it's probably where we're going to be going to source articles
a
and
lot of our
information
information. Yes.
to bring to you. So just so you know. But if you're looking for a place to go to get some information like that, so unrigged.ca, that might help you make sure that you're informed, because being informed is a choice.
Well, and I would expect, as you say, the narwhal might, I'd expect to see the Tyee and the narwhal in part of that network.
Yep. Eventually, like I said, they started. They wanted to get it off the ground, so they started with the people that were talking together about doing it, and now their next step is to reach out to other organizations such as those in order to bring them in.
Yeah, the 20 founding members are in active talks with a number of publications, as well as potential supporters, to expand the scope and deepen regional coverage. Now, I know that Dean has launched an initiative similar to this. I don't know what exactly is taking place.
Yes. Well,
I assume you're in discussion with him about that.
That's the thing I was talking about when I said your Queen Beaver might be up to something a little. The Crier Media Network has been having a GoFundMe fundraiser to raise $25,000 to counter the slap suit from the whole Proud network. And it has raised over $23,000 so far.
It's 25,000. Surpassed it.
We've surpassed it 50. Now?
Excellent. He increased it to 50.
Okay. Yes, I know he's increased it to 50. I didn't, but last time I checked, we were still at the 23,000 something, so I didn't know if he had hit the 25 yet.
Oh, yeah, it crossed it a day or so ago.
Okay. So the next phase of this is, now that he has his 25 to take on, is to raise another 25,000 to create something called One Canada. We're basically taking the same strategies that the Proud Networks has used and acquiring it. So remember when we had the conversation with Laura about practicing the dark arts, but for good? This is what we're doing. So it'll be a One Canada. We're raising $25,000 in order to be able to fund the activities. I am suspecting, I need to talk more about them, but that the strategy would be, as well as to fund probably a One Ontario, a One Quebec, a One, because there's Canada Proud and there's Ontario Proud and whatnot, and to register them as third-party organizations so that we could participate in elections as well, right, to spending. Now, when the writ period comes, there will be spending limits, because third-party organizations always have a spending limit. But outside election periods, we could spend all we want. And that would to be able to create some activities and to do some things to help counter the fire hose of bullshit that we're getting. So essentially, they're flooding the zone with disinformation and misinformation, mostly disinformation. So we're going to try to flood the zone with information.
Which is what we need to do.
So it's playing the same game, but instead of leaving little piles of dog poop everywhere, flaming bags of dog poop everywhere, and actually leave actual true information. One of the activities that I have proposed is that we start a Lincoln Project / Midas Touch equivalent for Canada. Some short, snappy videos countering the BS that can be going out on a frequent basis, which is the same strategy they use. And we know that Lincoln Project really got under Mango Madness's skin big time.
Boy, did it ever.
And we know how easy it is to get under Pierre's skin.
All you have to do is call him out on a lie, and then he lies.
Oh, yeah, he lies like he's coming down from a drunken rage bender. By the way, Dean's kind of pointed it out in an article, and it's like, when he attacked that journalist, that CP journalist, and we were commenting when he showed up at that synagogue looking like he had spent the night on a oh God, I've lost the word now. In the summer when you put clothesline, clothesline.
Speed bag, clothesline.
I was thinking in French.
I'm like,
Yes. Yeah,
speed
but
bag.
I mean, he looked like he was, exhausted, and he was breathing heavy.
Hmm.
Uh, I lived with an alcoholic for over 10 years. Well, let's say
Hmm.
maybe 7 when I was in a foster home, and then dated one for about 4 years. I remember them looking like that in the morning frequently and
Well, I don't know
losing their temper.
if that's an
Now,
issue,
I do not know if that's an issue with Pierre, but
but he does look haggard as hell.
when he looks haggard, he
I've
looks
said it.
very bad, and that rage snapping is
Hmm.
associated with it. And we've seen at least twice in the House of Commons where he's shown up and just started like belligerently talking and pointing stuff even to
Hmm.
his own staff. Um, and well, he does seem to enjoy day drinking.
If this is the case and he has a problem, I hope he gets the help he needs. It doesn't change the fact I hate him and I think he's a horrible human being. But we have programs in this country that help people, even the ones we don't like, because we're human beings.
Mhm.
I question whether he's a human some days, but if he has a problem with alcohol, I hope he gets the treatment he needs.
Now, the other reason why I'm thinking that this may be an issue is remember Pierre Poilievre was getting ready to take part in the Conservative Party of Canada leadership race that Aaron O'Toole eventually won?
Hmm.
And then all of a sudden, he announced that he wasn't.
He dropped out.
He even had
Hmm.
a date announced and had sent media stuff out saying that he was going to participate. I stumbled upon an article by Montreal Simon on his blog
Oh,
spot.
yes.
Very good account to follow as well. montrealsimon.blogspot.com. And it's written Pierre Poilievre and the Skeleton in His Closet. And this one's from Friday, August 21st, 2020. So it's a few years ago. It's an intriguing Canadian political mystery. Why did Pierre Poilievre suddenly drop out of the Conservative leadership race? He was a front-runner and the darling of the Con base. He had been campaigning hard for the job, he had the organization and the money, but just a few days before he was about to announce his candidacy, he suddenly quit, citing family reasons. I never believed that, and now I have become aware of another possible reason, and it's truly shocking. In an interview on a popular Quebec morning show a few days later, Bernard Drainville, who I believe is now has left the news, and I believe he is actually a member of the CA. No, not the CAQ. Maybe the Parti Québécois. If I
I don't
remember
know.
correctly, I'm just checking. Yes, Bernard Dréville, Canadian politician, television host, and journalist. He was the member of the National Assembly of Quebec for the riding of Marie-Victorin Longueuil for 2007 to 2016, representing the Parti Québécois. Since 2022, he is a member of the National Assembly of Quebec for the riding of Lévis, representing the Coalition Avenir Québec. He is currently serving as the Minister of Education. So the current Minister of Education in Quebec, but back then was a journalist for Radio-Canada. For an interview on a popular Quebec morning show a few days later, Bernard Drainville, the former Radcan reporter and PQ cabinet minister, claimed that he believed Poilievre had a, quote, skeleton in his closet, and that he had been told by a, quote, top conservative source that skeleton was bullying. The vicious bullying of top-level civil servants to the point that they were often reduced to tears, quote, and this is a translation of the quote because the interview was in French. Quote, he told me
Hmm.
that Poilievre was ferocious when he met with them. He said he had heard of many meetings that ended with the civil servants in tears after being humiliated so much by Poilievre, crushed, insulted, humiliated. Does that sound
Not surprised.
familiar? Have we seen that
Yes.
behavior?
Oh, yes.
Now, as someone who lived with an alcoholic and dated one, I know that feeling very well. After a
Well,
big bender, waking up the next morning with the hangover and coming down just before they have a couple other drinks to bring themselves back to zero.
mhm.
Not saying that Pierre Polyev is an alcoholic, but if we're talking about circumstantial evidence, this would go into the pile that would suggest that he is. He told me that he believed the skeleton was psychological harassment. He said some of those victims were threatening to come forward. And maybe that's why Pierre did not run in the end. And that Dreville alleges was the real reason Polyev dropped out so suddenly. You can hear those allegations on this tape starting around the 6:30 mark. And I'm going to point this here to Mr. Grizzly to put in the chat if you happen to understand French. It's 95 at 98.5 FM in, I would guess that this is either in Montreal or Quebec City, but the website is 985fm.ca, and this is from June 24th, 2020. There is a sound clip there that goes from 0 to 10 minutes, and at around 6 minutes 30, but go, if you speak French, go to about the 5-minute part, because there's a lead-in that leads to that, and you'll sort of get the story from Bernard Dreville himself, explain what it is. And like I said, he does confirm that it's from a very, very, very reputable source that Bernard Dreville would consider credible. And while he didn't reveal the sources, I have no problem repeating what it is said because I believe the source to be very, very credible. Now, I don't know whether that story is true, but Dreville was a highly regarded political reporter, and with all his years on the political scene, was and still is very well connected. And it's very easy for me to imagine Polyev as an ugly bully, judging by the way he has behaved in the past while serving his fellow master Stephen Harper, and by the way he is still behaving. For that performance was absolutely disgusting, worthy of a political demagogue playing prosecutor in a fascist court. And the day we normalize that kind of behavior will be the end of Canada as we know it. Now, I admit I am biased. I hate bullies with every bone in my body, and Polyev has always looked and sounded like a bully to me. But it's not me who is making those allegations. If Justin Trudeau had been accused of being a vicious bully, our shabby con media would have been all over him for months like a sweaty blanket. So I demand that the media treat Polyev exactly the same way, or they will be sorry. He wrote this in 2020, and the media did not treat him the same way. And we saw what happened to David Aiken, and we saw what happened to that journalist in the orchard, and we saw what happened to that lady from CP whose beat was normally judicial stuff, who happened to be there that day. So. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. When I read that thread, I thought, why didn't this get more coverage at the time?
Mm-hmm. They must.
What makes you like why? Why was it just left to be ignored for the most part? Like, why is that?
Montreal Simon continues to write, they must ask him whether it's true that he humiliated all those civil servants in such a disgusting manner that he made some of them cry. Yes or no? Yes or no? And how many? Yes or no? Just a number, please. Just a number. How many did you make cry? Yes or no? How many drinks did you have today? Yes or no? How many? And if the answer is yes, or is determined to be yes, I expect them to demand that Polyev resign. That ghastly con has acted like a political thug and got away with that for too long, and enough is enough. Update. When I wrote this post, I was not aware of Polyev's rancid misogyny or know about the way he tried to reach out to women hating incels with a secret tag in his YouTube videos, so I assumed that the civil servants he allegedly bullied were men. Now imagine if they were actually women and he was using his position to get his kicks by bullying them. It might be nice if some con media could ask Bernard Dreville, who is now Quebec's Minister of Education, more about this story. But I'm not holding my breath.
Well,
wouldn't that be so convenient if Mr. MGTOW made it a habit of treating female public servants and female members of his party the same way he treated that journalist.
It wouldn't surprise me in the least. And when you consider that those moments would have happened behind closed doors to the peering public eye, I'm assuming he was much more vicious. I could be wrong. But hey, we're just asking questions.
Just asking questions. Now, speaking of him, he left us a message for Christmas this year.
It was 3 years old, though, wasn't it?
Yeah. If you would like to put it up. Yes.
Do you have
Oh,
it
yes.
there? Okay, yeah, there it is. Yeah, I see.
December 26, 2023. Huh. Real interesting because this one here is dated December 24th, 2021. For he so cared about us that he recycled the video from 2 years ago and presented it as this year's, because nowhere when he on his Twitter feed, when he put this on, did he say, and from 2 years ago, or back by popular demand.
Mhm.
He just put it with the day's date. Now, in this video, again, maybe some other reasons why I suspect
You
that
mean
he
Libby?
might be. First of all, look at the bottle, how empty it is.
60 ouncer.
And listen to a couple of things he has to say. Now, this is supposed to be a Christmas greeting.
Mm.
Uh,
Do we have to watch all 4 minutes of it, though?
Maybe not 4, but maybe so, because there are some really interesting moments here. Now, I want you to pay attention to body language, and I want you to pay attention
Okay.
to the level of Christmas cheer. All
Okay.
right. Let's see how cheerful this is.
No
No
sound.
sound. Huh.
Send me the link.
All right. I will do that. Mr. Grizzly.
I don't know why that's happening.
Play me a clip.
Like, you used to be able to, and now for some reason it's just not doing it anymore. I have no idea why.
Bum, 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 bum,
Very strange.
bum, 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 Mr. Grizzly, play me a clip. Bum, 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 bum. Let's see Polyafric, he's take a sip. Bum, 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 bum.
Okay, here we go.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
We're here with our
Wow.
Polyev family gift
Cheerful.
to all of you. And it is the recipe for the Better Than Bailey's Christmas drink. And what's the original name, Anna?
All right, let's do a clip there. Stop there.
Ponche de crema. It's inspired by
Okay. Joy to the world, right? Merry Christmas. Then the claw goes on top of her shoulder,
That's very clearly not stored away.
pulls her to him, and go back to the beginning. And now, kids, look at her face and look at her eyes as this happens. This.
Merry
Now, the claw
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
We're here with our Polyev family gift to all of you. And it is the recipe for the Better Than Bailey's Christmas drink. And what's the original name, Anna?
Ponche de crema. It's inspired by a ponche de crema.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not one to gossip, so you didn't hear it from me. But that didn't look very affectionate, and she didn't look like that was very welcome. And that claw stays on her arm for about the first 28 to 30 seconds, and twice I see a
Mhm.
look. One of them is like, if you don't get that claw off me anytime, and then, oh my God, how much longer is he going to keep it on there? In there. Now, of course, he told her when she could speak, and then she says something, and then he interrupts her, and then she says that she calls it poncha de crema, and watch how he insults her culture.
But it's heavily Canadianized and given new and even better ingredients than the original that Anna's family brought here
Wow.
from Venezuela. For
Now look at her
one,
eyes.
we use the great
She looks
Canadian
down.
drink Crown Royal,
Yeah.
which
Now-
is probably the most Canadian thing you can imagine.
Now remember when he says the great Canadian drink Crown Royal? Because later on, she says something that kind of contradicts that.
Okay.
Invented by a Montrealer, distilled in Manitoba, using great Canadian grains. But Anna's the boss, and she will tell me how to do it, and then we will share the secret with you. One thing we ask, though, is that once you learn the secret, you're not allowed to tell anybody, because this is a closely guarded secret, and there will be severe penalties for anybody who lets these secret ingredients become known.
Okay, stop
All
that.
right, let's get busy.
Let's get going.
Did that sound like a joke? Did that look like a joke? Like normally when somebody says it, hey, because I'll tell you, but then I'll have to kill you.
Hmm.
Like there's no wink. There's no. That literally sounded like a threat.
Well,
There was no
he doesn't
humor.
have a
There was
sense of
no
humor.
haha. There was no. There was nothing about that seemed funny or light or. That was. That's just weird.
Ree's comment.
Oh.
Shouldn't the Russian asset be mixing a white Russian?
Ooh.
Well,
Ooh. All right. So now Anna's going to do all the work.
Fine. Okay, so 1 cup of half and half.
All right. You want me to pour?
Sure.
Okay, I'll pour it.
You pour. Full cup.
Full cup.
Thank you. Then 1 cup of whiskey. You can do Canadian Club, you can do Crown Royal, whichever. Not too
Canadian.
strong though.
Or Crown Royal, whichever.
mhm.
Full cup.
The
I
good
guess-
stuff.
I'm guessing Crown Royal is the.
Alright. And it's gonna be 1 can of sweetened condensed milk. I'm gonna grab the spoon to take the salt. Then we're gonna move to 1 teaspoon of instant coffee. You could do caffeinated or decaf. I recommend. And then we're gonna do 1 teaspoon of almond extract, or you can do the vanilla extract, whichever you prefer. And then we're gonna do 2 teaspoons of chocolate syrup.
Okay, he's. Let me just stop here.
Yep.
It's the abuse of good whiskey that troubles me more than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
You're taking Crown Royal and mixing it with all that stuff. I'm like, oh man, just no.
Everything goes in the blender, then we're gonna blend.
All right. Here we go. Serious blender, 500 horsepower. Don't try this at home. Actually do. What do you think?
More. I think we're good.
You did it.
Sorry,
Alright.
kids at home for that
Now,
noise.
quality control, the most important part of it all.
Now he's happy.
Tinkerbell hit it. Tinkerbell hit it on the head there. What's the point of whiskey if you're going to make pudding with it?
Jesus. Oh,
You're
ouch.
right.
Oh, you give me the big cup.
Now, did you notice that?
She's trying to get me drunk.
Yes.
Did you notice that?
Take advantage of you. Okay.
Is that the one with the poison in the glass?
Yes, exactly. Right? I'm going to give you this glass. No, let's switch those glasses.
All right.
That's what it
Look at
looks
that.
like.
Cheers.
Here's my
Merry
mouth.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas,
Merry
everyone.
Christmas.
There goes the claw again.
Wow.
Deliciousness.
A couple of variations. If you're having it early in the morning, throw an espresso in it. You can
What?
also add a pinch.
What did he just say?
If you're having it early in the morning, throw an espresso in it.
If you're having it early in the morning.
That's, yeah.
Now, remember when he went to that Hanukkah fundraiser in Point Claire? And then he came back at 1 a.m. after having all his little minions do his dirty work. And even though Daddy was at an event, at a $1,700 a plate event where he got to eat wonderful stuff, he didn't arrange to have something nice catered for the kids or didn't bring back pizza, but brought back McDonald's because apparently that's all they deserved, and then filmed himself being greeted like a hero, and then sat in the house for a bit and started talking belligerently, like,
Yes.
and again,
It's
to me, it
entirely
all looks
possible
like
you may have a problem. It's
Mhm,
entirely possible.
mhm,
It's entirely possible, you know.
mhm. Not saying he does, but the circumstantial evidence is there enough to have us just ask questions.
hmm Well, you know, it's
Day drink. Oh, let's come more because there's a lovely instance of body language that comes.
oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh yes, watch her try to escape.
Cinnamon.
And we actually like to give this as a gift, so you can get these bottles of Dollarama and then just pour them and wrap them nicely, and it's a perfect Christmas gift for your neighbors.
Just like that.
Yeah.
As long as you don't tell them the secret ingredients. Again, as we said, that is a
the
closely
claw again.
guarded secret.
Oh boy.
And we hope that you
See
have
that?
a great and Merry Christmas. Look forward to seeing you all in the new year. Cheers.
Cheers. Merry Christmas.
He put the claw around her and she actually moved the other way
Yeah, I saw that.
first.
Yikes.
Nothing like what's happening right here. What we see right here was going on there.
Hi, Douglas.
Can you hear? Oh, sorry, you need the other headphones.
Was anybody else really uncomfortable watching that, or is that just me?
Looks a bit like a hostage situation.
Yeah, that video screamed to me, "Send the ransom in small unmarked bills."
This comment from Tavi G. If you push booze and gambling, you are investing in the future patients for your friends who invested in privatized healthcare.
Get saucy. Now we just need a video of Trudeau teaching us how to roll a Christmas joint.
Honestly, you make you make me pee my pants laughing. Like so funny. You should be on stage, honestly.
Who, me?
No, Rihanna.
Well, you
Saucy Sea Witch.
Saucy, yeah.
Oh, Douglas, you are on stage already. You're most famous actor in probably Ontario, possibly Canada. No, honestly, like I can't wait to. What are you playing in next? What are you doing next?
As You Like It, Shakespeare.
Oh,
next.
nice.
And then we will rock you. And then after that, if Nona, Kit Nona, if you're watching, and after that will be Arsenic and Old Lace. because Kit Nona told me to see if ever was going to be an Arsenic and Old Lace that she would want to come and see that. So yes, that'll probably be in May.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What a great lineup.
Arsenic and Old Lace.
Yeah.
As I do sometimes, I'm like, how long is this podcast gonna go?
Do you need us? Do you need us to stop?
I'm just like, I've been waiting for a tea delivery. It hasn't arrived.
Oh,
And
That's me. I'm supposed to make the tea. I'm
go
just busy.
make some tea.
no,
I'm
no,
busy.
I'm kidding. You guys are having so much fun, and it makes me so happy. Like, look how happy you guys are.
Mhm.
It's New Year's. It's the first day of a fresh new year. Like, carry on.
Yes, I'll take a nap immediately after this.
Not before you make tea.
No.
And maybe a butter and jelly sandwich. Like,
It's peanut butter jelly time. It's peanut butter jelly time.
peanut butter jelly time.
You know, Galantis has a peanut butter jelly song. I played it for her
Yes.
last night. Settle down.
I love you too.
We love you.
I do not have a video of Justin Trudeau rolling a joint, but there is one of Pierre Burton.
Yes, from a few years ago. Was he on the Rick Mercer report? Is what that was? No, he was with Strombo. He was being
Rick
interviewed
Mercer-
by George
it was Rick Mercer. I'm
Stroumboulopoulos.
not sure if it was
It was Rick Mercer?
report or
I
22
do.
minutes though, but yes, Pierre Burton, Canadian author, How to Roll a Joint.
Oh, Cassie, thank you. Can I show? It just came up in my feed. I didn't look for it, but there's this in my Instagram feed. This woman is like making lunch for her kids. She's making like a tortilla, and she rolls it like it's a joint.
Yes,
and
I sent
and then
that to you.
Yeah, that's right. You sent it, and then she licks it, and she's like, "Oh no, I didn't mean to do that."
And here's the funnier part. She's wearing a hijab.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a great video. It's like, I'm like, that. I wish I could make lunch like that. I'm like,
I'll see if I can find the video. It's really funny.
it's so
I licked
funny.
it. It's mine.
She's
You can't have it.
She's like 35, mid-30s. She's like, I'm making my sandwich for my kids because I'm a good mom. And then she's like looking at like, just like, that is brilliant.
It's really funny. I'm not going to lie. Trying to find it here.
Oh my god, I love that. love that
I don't
so
know
much.
if while you're looking for it, does it, like, some of you are from my generation as well, right? Do you remember the video about drugs? It was like a public service announcement. It was
With
like,
the egg?
some drugs
Yeah.
are good and some of them are bad. If you're not sure, ask your mom or your dad. It's like, that was pretty paid for that. Like, that was like Health Canada. I'm like, that's good advice. But
Some drugs are good.
some drugs are good, and some of them are bad. Like the one, like I guess, like aspirin is good.
Oh, okay. Drugs
but
as in
like
pharmaceuticals.
heroin
Yes.
not good. If you're not sure, ask your mom or your dad. Like,
Yes.
but I remember the one about the fried egg too. Like, this is your brain on drugs. It scared the hell out of me, and I was just like,
Oh, really?
yeah, that's bad.
I was sitting there as I was just looking for toast so I can dip.
That was what they wanted. I think they're like,
My brain is
Mom and
tasty.
Linda. Oh my god.
Some of the things I send her on Instagram. If you see someone crying, ask if it's because of their haircut.
Oh,
It's funny.
terrible.
I love it.
It's funny though.
It's funny.
It's terrible, but
Yeah,
I
I can't
love
seem
it.
to find it.
Oh, that's okay.
All right.
All right.
Hey.
Oh well. Yeah, don't know where it went.
Okay.
Oh no, I found it.
Found it?
There it is. I
There
found
it
it.
is.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I
it's
found it.
so funny.
Hang on a sec here.
Oh,
Okay, I gotta replay it though. I gotta. Just give me a second. I'll put it up on the screen.
Oh my god, I have a feeling I'm gonna laugh myself silly. I'm gonna laugh my tail right off. Kittle and
Hang
Aaron,
on.
yeah, mom and dad know all the
It goes
good
on a loop
drugs.
because it's on Instagram.
Trying to treat a little homies, wanna be like on my knees in the night, saying prayers in the street light.
It's funny, right?
I love that. Oh my god. Oh, I love that. I want to be her friend. She's cool. That is a woman with a sense of humor.
And
Oh my god, that's
she, like,
brilliant.
clearly, her kids have like the best friggin' lunches at school, right?
Yeah.
They're like,
I don't know why. I had my lunch, but I'm still hungry. Oh, that is brilliant. Oh, I love her.
Well, it's like the sense of humor because, again, this is a woman wearing a
I
hijab,
know.
right? So
That makes it doubly funny.
exactly.
I don't know,
Exactly.
does anybody else have like the best or the worst packed lunch? Like I went to school with some pretty bad lunches sometimes. Like when you could also take peanut butter and jelly sandwiches to school, right? And then you'd be sitting next to the kid who had like a Twinkie.
You want to trade? Trade for a Twinkie?
Like I
Tuna
want the
sandwich
Twinkie
for
so
Twinkie?
bad. I'm like, here.
Funniest one I heard was Bert Kreischer. His wife was out of town and he had to take his daughters to school and they slept in. So he makes them get ready in a hurry. And his youngest daughter grabbed a bag of Uncle Ben's microwavable rice. So she put the bag of rice in the microwave. It says for 3 minutes. She put it in for 5, so it would be extra hot, and then dropped it in her backpack. Well, she gets to school. It exploded in her backpack.
Oh my.
It's a
That's
funny
not
story.
good.
I have full respect for anyone who's a single parent, and I've been one myself. But one of my good friends is he's a dad, and he has a son, and he's like, Rich, like one day I sent him to school. I'm like, we had no containers in the house. He's like, I grabbed an LCBO bag and a milk bag, and I threw like a sandwich in there, and I sent my kid to school with that. I'm like, you know what? You did your best. Like, he had food. It wasn't an alcohol bag. He's like, I know, I'm never gonna do that again. Because
It'd be funnier if it was. We used to go to school and marble bags were Crown Royal bags.
Oh yes, that's true.
It was
That
super
is
common.
true. It was perfect for marbles.
Well,
my God.
truth be told, when I was doing work for a cable company and I had to climb poles to fix stuff, I would sling parts in Crown Royal bags and just hang it off my tool belt because you could climb the ladder and they wouldn't fall out because they were closed. So I'd get up, open it up, and use the parts I needed. It was brilliant.
Oh my God. This chat is killing me. It's so funny. Like, honestly, like people would throw lobster sandwiches in the ditch because they were poor people's food, right? I'm like, that is like East Coast lobster. It's like the most delicious thing ever. And we're like, well, I'd rather
Right
just
here.
have a Twinkie.
Right here. You got a lobster sandwich, like just I mean, not the bread, but right here. Just throw the lobster right here.
Can I tell you one thing about? Because I think it's really good when Dan, to your point, breakfast and lunch programs at school. Like, so I'm not going to say which kid it is of mine, but they went into the school office, and this is how funny they are. And he's like, they're like, yeah, can we help you? This is high school, and they're like, he's like, can I have an IEP, like an independent educational program, whatever it's called, right? And it's like a specialized. It's like a very long process, and he knew that. And they're like, no, you actually have to get like an assessment, and then there's this, and it costs this much money. And he's like, all right, can I just have an apple then? And cereal? That's great. I'm good with that. And then he just took the apple and the cereal and he walked out. I'm like, you just slayed. Because he totally knew what he was doing, right?
Playing the system.
I can't have an IEP? Well, I'll just take an apple then.
Just does not want to stay up.
And I did pack him a lunch, but he's hungry, so he wanted more food.
Oh man. Oh, geez. Oh, here we go. I've got one for you since we're doing silly stuff. Because not at all political, kids. Not at all political. But this is something I saw yesterday that made me laugh like crazy. I'll have to explain
Hang on
it
just
to
a
the
second
kids
here.
who are listening because they won't see the visual.
Okay, hang on a sec
But
here till I cue it up.
let's see if you kids notice the funny part in this.
Okay, hang on.
Oh man.
I'll go here.
Can you help me?
Here.
I did something dumb.
What?
I thought I could wash the bottom of the cup and it just got stuck in there like that.
Hey.
No!
Well, you're gonna have to pull it out.
I tried to pull it out. Why do you think I'm calling you? I need a better solution.
Your knuckles.
No, I know. They're turning white. I'm losing oxygen.
I'll get a hammer.
No, don't smash it. Hold on, let's just get a little soap in it.
Okay, but that's good, actually. Like, pull it up. Now pull it out. There. Easy. What? Don't laugh. If you need help, I'm here to help. I'll save the day.
That's funny. That's funny.
For the kids listening at home, she had her hand stuck in the glass, and when she said use some soap, she took the hand that was stuck out of the glass to squeeze the soap container
Get
and then
soap,
put it
yeah.
back in, and he didn't notice.
I've seen stuff like that done before. It's like it's good. It's a sleight of hand, and if you're not paying attention, it's like, oh my god, I'm a sucker.
Kid Dan, I just peed.
There are solutions for that. This is the stuff that comes up in my feed. It's like hearing aid tests, a Kegel machine. They're like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, I guess that's my demographic. I guess they know everything about me.
Oh my word.
I've got nothing.
I got
nothing. Nothing. I got nothing. I got nothing.
I gotta move on to the next thing because I got something else for you here. Oh my word. Oh my
I'll
word.
just say here. I can hear.
Jeez.
Just can't stop laughing.
All right. We have the latest move from conservative MPs to talk about to try and crucify the Prime Minister on carbon pricing here. As you know, conservatives have taken to showing what they allege to be some of their constituents' gas bills.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
online
I saw that.
to show how much, carbon tax there is and everything. So if you put it up, I have it up on the share screen there for you, Mr. Grizzly. So this is Anna Roberts, MP, the Member of Parliament for King Vaughan, and I've seen this some similar comments from other conservative MPs, and she's showing a bill, charges for natural gas, bill November 19th to December 15th. The customer charge is $22.88. The delivery charge is $28 to $34. The transportation to Enbridge is $11.36. Federal carbon charge, $32.21. Gas supply charge, $34.31. Cost adjustment, $7.66. Total bill, $136.76 plus HST of $17.78 for total $154.54. So this person is basically getting $34.31 of gas, but paying $154.54 for it.
Mm.
Right? And she writes, how will Justin Trudeau explain this to the 88-year-old senior in my riding? $32.31 in Trudeau tax on a $34.31 in natural gas for home heating plus $11.78 plus $17.78 in HST on top of that. You make it, Trudeau takes it. He's just not worth the cost. Then I had to go Suzanne Sugarbaker.
Okay.
On Anna. because this was just absolutely ridiculous. Dear Anna, is it not your job to understand, one, it's not a quote unquote Trudeau tax, but a regulatory fee, as the Supreme Court ruled? Two, that the net fee, given the rebate, and the overwhelming of the HST is federal plus provincial tax on the service rendered and not carbon pricing. So you would actually have to take the HST, figure out how much is provincial, how much is federal,
Mhm.
and then of the federal, figure out how much of that is on the $32.31 of carbon, which would be a very, very small portion of that $17.78. And when you include the rebate, well, that $32.31 that she's complaining about is basically pretty much refunded. And is it not your job as a, quote, skip air quotes, honorable member of parliament to explain it accurately with no lies, exaggerations, or misinterpretations so as to not mislead your constituents? And if I, a mere citizen, can understand it and explain it, why, as a legislature, can't you? You have no excuse. Why does she need Justin Trudeau to explain this when she should be able to?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I just don't know.
So, and of course, Anna wants you to be mad at the $32.21 federal carbon charge for which you have a rebate, but not mad at the $28.34 delivery charge or the
Mhm.
$11.36 Enbridge charge or the $34
Yeah,
or
just
the
yeah, I know. You look at all the charges. It's like, come on, man, come on.
it's the carbon tax one, the one that you get rebated. And if you're one of the 80% of households who's left better off,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's the one
I
they
know.
want you to be mad at.
Yeah. Well,
Don't be mad at the gas company.
well, it's all the charges over and above. It's like the customer charge, delivery charge, service fee. I don't give a shit about you fee. I mean, it's like when you buy tickets for any event and you go through the master of tickets. I'm not going to say their name. You see how they gouge the hell out of you. Delivery fee, print fee. But I didn't print it. It's on my phone. Why am I paying to have it on my phone?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
this
to
disturbing.
that effect, we had old Dan Yeller yesterday.
Yeah, I saw
There's
that.
something a little interesting. Catherine McKenna, our former Minister of Environment and Climate Change, that conservatives love to label as Climate Barbie.
My former MP.
Yep. Even though she has retired and is no longer a member of parliament and has been quite a while now,
Mhm.
they still love to attack her. And this Spencer Fernando guy from the Canadian Taxpayers Federation particularly is starting to get under my crop because when it's Melanie Joly, when it's Karina Gould, when it's Catherine McKenna, when it's
Mhm.
Chrystia Freeland, he has really, really unflattering things like unhinged and stupid and
Mhm.
very, very particularly abusive to particularly women
Mhm.
in his comments. But here we have Catherine McKenna asking Scott Moe, the premier, because there's an article in the Regina Leader Post. Unfortunate for Saskatchewan to break federal emissions law, says Premier Moe. It's unfortunate that I have to do this. Well, you don't have to do this. You could just follow the law. But then again, well, this is a guy that does have 3 different driving while impaired charges in his past, and so did his son, and so did his brother. And
Mhm.
apparently, at one point along the way, he offered his brother a pardon, which seems to me to be a rather big conflict of interest.
Little
Wouldn't it
bit.
be? Offering your own brother a pardon?
Mhm.
And they got mad when Justin Trudeau wanted to offer a deferred prosecution agreement to SNC. The guy pardoned his own brother.
I have something to show you here in
Well,
relationship to what you just showed
okay.
me a moment or two ago. This is from Tavi G. He sent me this, and Tavi says, I think there might have been some playing with that bill that you showed earlier.
Oh, do tell.
Well, look at this. Let me just blow this up so I can see it better.
The federal carbon charge.
Customer charge. So October 19th, 2022 to November 16th, 2022. Customer charge 23.18. Delivery to you 29.84. Transportation to Enbridge 4.29. Federal carbon charge $17. Gas supply charge $59.58. Cost adjustment $8.69. $143 plus $18.62 in HST for a total of $161.92.
The gas supply charges and the federal carbon charge are very different.
Yes. So it makes one wonder if somebody was
And the HST is a little different.
photoshopping.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Somebody photoshopping?
Interesting.
Makes one wonder.
Interesting. Huh.
Yeah. Manipulating things to suit their
Well, we know that Andrew Scheer did it
narrative.
a while ago. Remember on that motion? Wow. Okay.
Got to support his narrative.
Yeah. So
wouldn't put it past them.
Well, no, don't put anything past them. So the Regina Leader Post says that Premier Scott Moore says that it's unfortunate that he has to break the federal emissions law. Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moore once said a fundamental pillar of Canadian democracy is rule of law. His province is now prepared to break it. Well, Catherine McKenna says, Dear Scott Moe, the rule of law is fundamental to our democracy. The disdain you show for it is unbefitting a premier and puts our country on a dangerous road. Well, take there, right? All because you don't want to take effective climate action, the worst kind of politician. So who rides into the rescue but old Dan Yeller? Let's talk about the rule of law. I would ask the former Environment Minister to recognize that the Supreme Court and Federal Court ruled twice against unconstitutional and illegal federal policies. Scott Moe is an honorable premier who has tried using diplomacy many times, asking Ottawa's Liberals to follow the rule of law. I sincerely hope that 2024 brings a change of attitude and perspective from the federal Liberals and how they approach dealing with Canadian provinces under the Constitution. Yes, because between her and the federal government, it's the federal government that needs a change of attitude. Anyway, well, Daniel Smith, let's talk about the rule of law. Oh, look, she had that phone call with Artur Pawlowski. She thought she had the power to pardon. Suddenly has thoughts about the rule of law that she'd like to share to, I guess, put in her place Catherine McKenna, who in real life is a rather badass internationally recognized lawyer. From her Wikipedia, between 1996 and 1999, McKenna studied law at McGill University before beginning her legal career in Jakarta, Indonesia at the firm SSEK, where she focused on international trade, investment, and constitutional issues. In 2001, she moved to East Timor, where she spent a year as a senior negotiator with the United Nations peacekeeping mission in East Timor, which culminated in the Timor Sea Treaty, providing for the joint exploitation of petroleum resources in a part of the Timor Sea. She returned to Canada, where she joined Stikeman Elliott LLP, working in the areas of competition, trade, and constitutional law. During this time, she was a senior counsel on the review of Canada's military justice system, headed by Antonio Lamer, former Chief Justice of Canada. In 2005, McKenna co-founded the Canadian Lawyers Abroad, Avocats Canadiens à l'étranger, now called Level Justice, a University of Ottawa-based charity that helps Canadian law students and law firms do pro bono legal work in developing countries. Level Justice works to reduce barriers to justice by uniting the power of people, education, and law will lead to create more equitable and just society. She remains a member of the Bars of Ontario and New York State. And shortly after becoming Minister of Environment and Climate Change, she went to a COP summit and she was tapped on the shoulder by the UN to be the person that was leading people to try to bring people together legally. So Danielle Smith thinks that she knows more about the law than Catherine McKenna, who could probably actually teach the course. Now, Daniela, girl, take a seat, because we got some stuff for you here. Also, Danielle Smith is lying to you by omission. Sins of omission, deliberate sins of omission, are the same as lying. The Supreme Court of Canada on the IAA was legally upheld. The court provided guidance as to changes required, and the federal government respected the court and made the changes. The law stands as and is in effect. So when Danielle Smith here says above that the federal court ruled twice against unconstitutional illegal federal policies, the Supreme Court of Canada did rule that part of the IAA, which I can't remember off it's something in Assessment Act or something, but I can't remember what the I is in this one. But according to the summary of the majority and dissenting oppositions, writing for the majority, Chief Justice Wagner held that sections 81 to 91 of the IAA, which create an assessment process for projects funded or undertaken by federal authorities on federal lands or outside Canada, are constitutionally valid. The opposite of what Danielle Smith said. The majority opinion also
Funny that.
affirmed that Parliament can enact impact assessment legislation, Impact Assessment Act. There we go.
Mhm.
That is directed at federal aspects of proposed projects. During such assessments, the federal government may gather information about a broad range of potential effects beyond those that fall within the federal jurisdiction. Nevertheless, Parliament must still, quote, act within the enduring divisions of powers framework laid out in the Constitution. So what was overturned by the Supreme Court in that decision were portions of the law that the court deemed was not strictly of federal competence. So it overreached a bit.
A little bit.
That's okay. The federal government said, okay, Supreme Court, we see you, we recognize you, we will rewrite the act to remove the things that are overreach. And now the law stands. It applies. That was apparently the first thing that they lost, according to Danielle Smith. The second one was the plastics ban. That one went to the federal court, and the federal court ruled on a law that no longer exists in the form in which it ruled. It was rewritten such that the action brought is more likely to be unsuccessful, hence the appeal. According to a law firm, Macmillan, very respected, quote, does the decision mean that the addition of PMIs to Schedule 1 of SEPA has been struck or is no longer in effect? No. Because of the reenactment of SEPA following the order was not in the legislative tool that added PMIs to Schedule 1 in its current form. Therefore, while the decision quashes the order, it does not have the effect of striking PMIs from Schedule 1 of SEPA as it currently stands. In other words, PMIs are currently still listed in Schedule 1 of SEPA. What happened is that the federal government saw certain things were not listed correctly, and they decided, oh, we need to rewrite that. But because the federal court saw that it wasn't originally and thought, you know what, this is still a good idea to consider as a matter of law so that we can create the ruling, it basically ruled that if those things were in the original format, then yes, there would be a problem. But the federal government recognized it before the decision came down. So the law as it stands doesn't have the thing that the federal court said was unconstitutional. That is why Minister Stephen Guilbeault is bringing the decision in appeal to the Supreme Court of Canada. Macmillan actually says in its assessment, the consequence of the decision that many are taking away from recent news headlines may be unwarranted, as the decision itself does not change the legislation currently in effect. But that doesn't matter to old Daniela.
Of course not.
Does the decision render the SUP regulations invalid? No. Since the decision did not result in the striking of PMIs from Schedule 1 of SEPA, which provides Environment Canada with authority to regulate PMIs and enact the SUP regulations, it did not render them invalid. Businesses who manufacture, distribute, sell, supply, or use 6 categories of single-use plastic products subject to the SUP regulations should continue to comply with the regulations and not make any changes to their existing compliance plans. No changes are required from the companies. Importantly, the SUP regulations arise from an analysis conducted by Environment Canada that identified the 6 single-use plastics products subject to the ban as problematic plastics. This is the evidence missing from the much broader category of PMIs that the court took issue with in its decision. Had just these 6 products been added to Schedule 1 rather than the PMIs, the application may not have been successful.
Interesting.
So the government did exactly that when they noticed. They included the missing evidence into the much broader category.
Mm-hmm.
So now that they are added to Schedule 1, this says the application may not have been successful. In order the petition to overturn the plastics ban may not have been successful. Again, which is why Stephen Guilbeault is bringing that to the Supreme Court of Canada so that the Supreme Court of Canada can rule on the bill as it is now, not with the initial mistake, which is the decision that the Federal Court of Canada gave. And this was basically, well, this matter is interesting enough as a point of law, so let's explore it. Even though it is moot. So they wanted to create the precedent and have a ruling, which is important for future stuff, but as it applies to the plastic ban itself, as it is currently in force, completely irrelevant. You'd think that the lady who is claiming that they are being oppressed by Stephen Guilbeault and who wants a change of attitude from the federal government may have wanted to be a little more clear on her facts, but then again, she didn't really know that she couldn't take a phone call from a criminal defendant with a case before the courts. So, I mean...
They just make it up as they go along.
They will literally lie.
They don't care.
Literally
They'll do whatever they can to win.
Please.
If it means cheating, lying, stealing, they'll do it.
All to publicly score points against the former Minister of the Environment, who wasn't even there when these 2 bills were written, drafted, whatnot, to discredit her as a lawyer.
Yeah, I just don't. Some days, man.
Total waste of time.
Exasperation.
Political performance art. She told the woman who could actually teach the course that she was wrong. Yeah. And then, of course, she says, Premier Scott Moe is an honorable man. Really? And an honorable man has...
He's not honorable at all.
All those past encounters with the law and is currently using the law to crush kids? Yeah. Very diplomatic and honorable. Very diplomatic and honorable. Danielle needs to take a seat. Mr. Grizzly, do we have a show?
We do indeed, sir.
All right, kits and cups. That's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver Morning Show. We hope that you love listening to us because we love making this for you. Remember that sharing is caring and word of mouth is priceless, and you have the mouse from which we want the good word to be spread. So please tell all your peeps and your poops of peeps, your peeps of poops,
All of the above.
All of the above about our show. We are getting lots of traction on some of our Christmas episodes, Christmas week episodes. Our interview with Neely Kaplan-Mirth has really taken off.
Yeah, I was looking at the Dean's numbers on Twitter, so I'm like, holy crap.
And we are getting lots of compliments about it. Please
Some
take
hate mail,
some hate mail. We knew
which
that
was
gonna happen.
expected. We knew that was going to happen.
Also, please take some time if you missed some episodes. We also have an interview with a lawyer named Douglas Judson, who was basically at the forefront of a very important precedent-setting case with regards to defamation and anti-SLAPP suits, who basically had a court rule that in Ontario, it is now illegal for people to call people they don't know, random strangers, pedos and groomers because they support either the drag community or the transgender community or the rainbow community. That is literally now a crime. And if somebody goes to court and say, well, I was just exercising my free speech, the court has ruled that there's pretty much no positive social value to that type of speech. And therefore, if you are going to use it as a defense against a SLAPP action, it will not be accepted.
Which is good.
Now, only Ontario and British Columbia have anti-SLAPP and SLAPP legislation, so clearly it's not coast to coast to coast yet. But at least in those two provinces, assuming that the decision in Ontario would be used as a precedent in British Columbia, technically you could sue if that happens. So people have to be a little careful what they do there. Please take some time to listen. It's a very eye-opening and engaging interview.
Yes.
And it's definitely worth your time. Our interview with Neely Kaplan-Mirth is a little, I will tell you right now, if you missed it, a little heavier than our usual fare because, we like to laugh and, have some tongue-in-cheek stuff and be a little sarcastic. There was none of that there. It was a very, very, very serious interview about a very, very serious subject. She's been the target, because she's not a victim, clearly, of a lot of anti-Semitic attacks. And but she's standing very, very strong against them. And if you listen to the interview and hear everything that she's faced, hats off for her.
Still standing tall and strong in the face of vicious hatred.
And defiant.
Yes.
Not backing down at all. So these are two very, very important interviews with some very engaged citizens that are doing some very good things for the benefit of us all. So if you have some time to listen to them, and the 3 other episodes that we did were 2023 year-on-year review episodes. So if you have a chance to listen to them, if you missed them, they're available for you on YouTube. Let's see, what else do we have? Okay, we did the sharing is caring part. So let's then say, if you would not like to miss an episode at all, you don't have to, thanks to the Ray Girl, who has sponsored our pod page. So if you scan that QR code beneath my chin right here, that will take you to podpage.com/The True North Eager Beaver, lowercase letters with a hyphen between each one of those words. And that way, when we have something fresh off the bandwidth, it comes directly to you. If you like subscribing to things, make like Kit Elaine and go to our True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube page, where we have gained a lot of subscribers over the last little bit. I think we're over 540 now, which is, again, the fastest that we've gained.
545.
That many. 545. So thank you very much. We had some good fortune over Christmas with an old tweet of mine talking about some important facts that can be used to counter Conservative Party BS on the strength of the economy, which somehow got a second life. Somebody retweeted it and then just got fired and got another like 16,700 retweets or something. And that drew a lot of people to the channel and to our Twitter feed over the holidays. So thank you for whoever spread that around. We really appreciate it. We didn't expect that, but it happened and it led to a lot more subscribers. So Thank you so
Thank you.
much. As well, so there, if you're on our True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube page, you can like, share, and subscribe, as Kit Elaine likes to remind you to do, and that helps us a lot. Also, if you would like to support us and encourage us to do more, you can go to our coffee page. That's coffee, ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, lowercase letters, all in one word. And that's where you will find our tip jar for the True North Eager Beaver Lodge Emergency Hydration Fund. I don't know if you could put the coffee squiggly up there, Mr. Grizzly, but if you do that and leave us a little something there, that helps keeps us hydrated, and that makes sure that we can keep on bringing you this wonderful content that you love. And the kids were very generous to us in December. It was our best month. So thank you for all the Christmas support and love. And we have to thank in particular because we had pre-records for the end of the year. The people who had made some donations over that time. So we have, well, Kit the Ray Girl. Thank you very much. Who said, have a beverage of your choice on me. And Kit, oh, you told me how to say the name, and I haven't said it in so long, so I think I forgot it, but I will say Aina. And if I got it wrong, please remind me again. Who said, and this was a very beautiful comment, thank you for the interview with Nilly Kaplan Mirth. I have so much admiration for her. Your interviews are so good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, we let our guests do most of the work, to be totally
Mhm.
honest. We do our interviews. But
Just have a chat and let them open up and have a conversation.
yeah. But thank you for your support. It helped us close off the year very, very well. Thank you for everything you do. Looking forward to another record-breaking 24, thanks to you and your support. Big thank you to our founding sponsors, the Pepper Master, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. Because democracy is something that you do, go get your shots, XBB, flu, your pneumococcal vaccine, your RSV shot. Very, very important. Donate to the Red Cross if you can, and write those letters to your MPs, your MPPs, asking for a national food program in schools and demanding increasing accountability from the leader of the opposition, who seems to be avoiding it a lot of late. From
Yes,
the
I-
Beaver Lodge, this is your eager beaver saying, it could be a tough world out there, so please be kind and gentle with yourself. Mr. Grizzly, some words of wisdom, please.
Self-serving words of wisdom, because I noticed the anti-corporatist had commented on how he's looking for soothing relaxation content from time to time to help him sleep. Well, here's the self-serving part. I just put the link in the chat to my personal ASMR YouTube channel, where I will be doing a show live at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here in the nation's capital of Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. Feel free to join in. And there's a good group of people that join in the chat. And and I want to thank all the people who have boosted my subscribers numbers. It was at 689 2 weeks ago. It's now at 1,460.
On your
So
ASMR?
Yeah, I've doubled my numbers in like 2 weeks. So
Whoa!
thanks for everybody for sharing that. I'm truly humbled, honored. Sorry, I'm truly honored. It was big. It was big. Yeah. I was not
Good
expecting
for
that. I was very much
you.
surprised. It was like, I just, checked it the other day and I'm like, what how is that happening?
That is wonderful.
Yeah.
Bring some of
So
that
it's
magic over to
growing.
ours.
Oh, sorry, 1,470. So I just got another
Wow.
10 while we've been online. So
Dang.
yeah, it's building. It's building. The problem, I think the problem with it is when you click on it, it takes you home and it shows the For You and then past live streams. And then if you go down to the video list, like some videos have 10, 12,000 views, but it's the live stream that doesn't get as much. But I prefer doing the live stream, so that way we can have the chat and the conversation, and then you can tune it in later. You can watch the go back to the live feed. I'm starting to cut them and put them into the video feed as well, but just trying to drive people to the live stream because it's more interactive, right? I understand you can't always do it. You can't always join in. 9:30 on a Monday is late for a lot of people. So if you can pop by, you should check it out. I think you'd like it.
Hey, well, you're at the face now that you'll be getting, about $18 per 1,000 views now.
Yeah.
Good
I
for you. I
have to
am so
incorporate
happy
next
for
week.
you.
Thanks. Yeah, it's like I was telling Bridget, well, I'll incorporate soon, and then it was like, oh shit, I got to do that very soon because I'm suddenly over that hurdle. So
Okay, well,
yeah,
until such time as you do, um, just include it as part of TNNB, and we'll separate it so that way you're protected.
yeah, oh yeah. I'll figure it out. But yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's
it
beautiful.
was a big surprise to me, like a very big surprise to me. I was not expecting that. So
I am so proud of you. Way to
thanks,
go.
man. Thanks.
Good
So,
work.
so it's coming together slowly but surely. It's taken a couple of years worth of work, and I started this during the pandemic, and there it is right there. For those of you who are
Look at
curious.
that. That's 1.47K.
Yeah, almost 1,500.
Dang.
It's one short I just put it in like YouTube ads, and they like 186, 70,000, 2,800, 64, 33. Like
You know what? The Christmas season was probably the best time to actually do that.
yes, especially when you consider what the channel is all about, right?
Yeah,
It's about
exactly.
mental health and people who are suffering, battling issues at Christmas time. I think a lot of
Yeah,
people sort of tune into that. They need a place to go to somebody to talk to, and
yeah.
there's a good group in the chat, and like I said, it's coming together. It's getting better. Yeah. So I'll
Oh,
continue
man.
to build that. And thanks to
Good for
everybody
you.
who
Good for you. Good for you. Well
helped
done.
out. Thanks.
Well done. Oh, and Kits, if you've been sharing the word about the SMR channel, thank you.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Cassie. Thanks, Pinkabell.
There you go. I just subscribed. There you go. Wonderful, wonderful. All right, Mr. Grizzly rolls the credits, and we have 2 cute little Easter eggs for you.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver media podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and The Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
All right. Oh, and by the way, special thank you to Paul Joseph Something for our new music. I hope that you like it, Kits. All right. 2 little Easter eggs. One is from our trip where Mr. Beaver, I think, had a personality transplant for a little bit and became Mr. Kitty.
Was that the screen you have in the share there?
No, it's the first Easter egg I've sent you in
Where did I
the
put it? Oh, there it
chat
is. There it is. Sorry.
Yes, the first
Bear
one.
with me. Bear with me for a sec here while I blow it up. Okay, here we go. It's this one here, I believe.
Yeah,
Tell me if I'm wrong.
we were at Sunset Point and something happened. Oh, okay, we'll do this one first then.
Oh, okay, sorry.
That was William Shatner posted, "Don't you dare put that on me. Let's not forget that in 1983, Lucas introduced Ewoks that started not only that furry movement, but the dyslexics among us started woke culture from them too." Somebody had quoted to William Shatner, said, "I put on Star Trek V last night to fall asleep, which didn't work, but I think it might be safe to say that William Shatner may have inadvertently started all this furry nonsense back in 1989 with this thrice-breasted cat stripper on Nimbus 3. And no. That is incorrect. Everyone knows it is I who started the furry movement when I was born in the early 70s. Down here.
Okay. All right. That was
And
good.
then we have the other one for you. For
Which is the other one? Let me see
the
if
one
I
that
have it.
says Easter eggs specifically.
Okay, I'm just trying to figure out which one I've got here. Is this the wrong one? I might have missed it.
You might have
There we
missed it.
go.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, you
Yeah,
got
no,
it?
I got it. I got it. Yeah, just bear with me.
Something happened. I don't know what, but very weird.
I'm laughing at the video. Oh my god. Okay, hang on. I'll blow it up. This is just pure silliness.
We were walking by Sunset Point near on the Georgian Bay, and they had little trees that had Christmas balls there, and all of a sudden I just couldn't resist.
Turned into a cat, did you?
Impressive ball handling.
Makes me think of this. In your own words, how would you describe libertarians? House cats. They are convinced of their fierce independence while utterly dependent on a system they don't appreciate or understand.
All right, kids and cubs, have a beaverific day. Happy New Year. Thank you for kicking it off in style with us. It's only water, but cheers.
I'll see you.